Hi, it's Victoria Cunningham Downey here, the founder of Stretch Body Mind and the creator of Stretch Your Biz. And I'm here with Foxy to talk all about tracking your money. If you haven't read my blog post this week, I will put a link down below. But basically, I talked about why we track the money and how to track the money. And in particular, I talked about various smartphone apps that you could use, as well as things like spreadsheets and very plain and simple pen and paper. However, I wanted to talk to you personally a little bit more in depth about this, because while I think it's important for everyone to track their money, I think it is absolutely vital for someone who is either at the start of their career or right in the midst of their career as a self-employed yoga teacher, Pilates instructor, health and wellness consultant, whatever it is that you do. It is so important to know your numbers. And in this instance, for me, the app, putting in your sort of pennies and what you're spending on sweets and so on, isn't quite as important as really getting into sort of the brass tacks of things. And I tend to use an Excel spreadsheet because it helps me, one, to create a budget, and two, to stick to that budget. And I'll give you an example of a time when I didn't do this tracking. It was very early on in my self-employment career, probably about 10 years ago actually. I was working for Stretch and Play, which was my own charity, and I'd been offered a children's yoga class in a town that was around about an hour away from me. And at the time, they offered me £30 for the hour's class, and I just, pound signs in front of the eyes. Oh my God, that's brilliant. Because of course it was, 10 years ago, it was great to get £30 for one class. But what I didn't take into account was the fact that the class was an hour away, which meant that I had a 2-hour round trip. And it meant that instead of getting paid £30 for 1 hour, I was getting paid £30, but I was out of the office for 3 hours. In which case I was really only getting paid £10 an hour. And then don't even get me started. When I actually looked at the mileage costs, I was paying to work there. Obviously, that's a mistake I don't want you to make, and I was able to rectify it because I went back to the bosses in the leisure centre and said I can't afford to do this, and they put on other classes for me. So I ended up running 3 classes back to back, so it was worth my while. But I shouldn't have made that mistake in the first place, and I did because I wasn't tracking my money. So please check out your figures. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye bye.